And welcome back to another episode of About That Track. I'm Toussaint Morrison. I will explain some of my music to you, the stories behind it. I get a little bit long-winded. That's what these videos are for. And they first go out to the patrons of the Patreon, and then they go out to the other folks. So the other folks that aren't patrons. But this one, let's look it up. Ooh, okay. We're excited for this one. Okay, so this song is called Night Game, and I began writing it before Daunte Wright was killed by Brooklyn Center Police, and then afterwards I finished it. The verse, insurrectionists, sexism, white supremacists, I'm fresher than death certificates, waiting for penmanship. It's off the top since they coming off the hip. I'm newer than the black friends you met since May 26th. Now, May 26th is the day after George Floyd was murdered by the MPD, and the idea with that is a lot of folks who didn't have black friends had a few more after May 25th, because a lot of people that wanted to get out in the community kind of had to start speaking with black people, like getting to know us and listening to us. And that I'm newer than the black friends you met since May 26th. And so it's speaking to circumstantially, socially, what a lot of people were going through at that time. And this particular situation, yeah, it's got to there's something going on with this whole situation with the family room and the Sonos. But now, Night Game was written, it was finished after both mayors of Brooklyn Center and I think St. Paul and Minneapolis sent out curfews saying, hey, you can't be out after sundown. Now, before that, sundown towns were known as towns where black people could not go out in because they weren't allowed to be out in a white town after sundown. And sundown was relative. You know, somebody could make up rules and say whenever sundown was. Stillwater, Edina, many cities in Minnesota were sundown towns. And they were essentially, I believe sundown towns started in Minnesota. So it was basically delineating where black people could not be and could be at certain times, otherwise violence would be brought upon them. And then what happened with Daunte Wright being killed by the Brooklyn Center Police Department, murdered by Brooklyn Center Police Department, they turned it into a sundown town again. They said, you know, when the sun goes down, you have to go home. And so this is what Night Game was about. So we had this drone, kind of like, and it's kind of like a little bit akin to Hotline Miami. Insurrectionists, sexism, white supremacists, I'm fresher than death certificates, waiting for penmanship. It's off the top since they coming off the hip. I'm newer than the black friends you met since May 26th. Enter the Dragon, he goes into the mirror level. Figures and figures. Well, the same day they make a lynching. They use our money to pay the cops who kill us, then promise to paint gold over the road where they spilled blood. So I got that line from an old poet buddy named Tim Shea. He said, he referenced you can't do this to the land and pave it back to gold. And so I wanted to say, you know, the whole idea of blood spilling in a land and then painting gold over it. This was also in another poem that I wrote called Slain Sun. And in Slain Sun, I mentioned, you know, they wanted to pave the road back to gold, and this idea of just putting gold over dead bodies and blood, just it always visually stuck with me. So that's where that came from. Are we back? Okay. Before my city sees a cloud of it, your fear runs deep, you drown from it, and deeper when you see us black and proud of it. When you see black pride, it sounds dangerous to some people. It's weird. Peace of mind hotline with 911. The idea is that the presence of law enforcement, who makes it feel comfortable, who feels comfortable with cops around and who doesn't. Like that delineation right there should tell you everything you need to know about a department or about an institution, regardless of what they're there to do. There's certain demographics and neighborhoods and communities that have been so underserved, under-resourced, and brutalized that there is no comfort with law enforcement around. Or there are certain people that have benefited from law enforcement being around, and they only feel comfort when they're there. But the idea is that, you know, peace of mind hotline is 911. Okay. Didn't even really want like a chorus. Wanted like a fallout here. Fuck up. Oh, cheer. Oh, nights out. Might not come home. Till then, knives out. Until they run home. So I just wanted, this is how I felt like going back and forth between Brooklyn Center and Minneapolis. Like, it just felt like this drone of like risk and danger all the time. This, I know you guys can't sleep, still no peace, still on streets versus school to prison pipelines, police in line 3. Yeah, this was the second verse I wrote. I thought this was the other way around, but it's not. So line 3 is a giant like oil pipe that it's a giant oil corridor that was basically North Minnesota that's just going to destroy a ton of different land and destroy a lot of land ecosystems within it, and then also go straight through indigenous reservations. Live stream, no accountability unless the whole world seeing. That's a whole ass stretch for the limbs and reach of Reed Richards. Seen the video but still don't get the whole picture. Wage theft is like one of the top forms of robbery in the country. I mean, all this is pretty like straight to the point. All immunity, no spirit. They got no soul. They're always just counting on qualified immunity. Like, you get what's being put out here. Like it's these cops will basically lean on the DA to get off. They'll go back to their, you know, business as usual violence, and then it is what it is. It is exactly what it is. And so that's just the points that are being illustrated here. In the union, they'll fight to clear them. They want us to fear them as much as they fear us. They just a badge and a number. They Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I know what they all did last summer. So if you know the horror film, I know what you did last summer, or I still know what you did last summer. I love the phrasing of the sequel. Then you understand that, like, they're all killers, and we all know it. I know what they did last summer. Like, we know, like, and there's no parading around headlines or prettying it or anything like that that's going to make it better. So, yeah. Here comes those lines. Fear us. And I thought the verse would end here, but then I just kept writing. We ain't the same, man. Hatred and revenge. So what was it all back then? It ain't about what you did, it's not about what you gonna do. It ain't about who, it's about what you answer to. So if you stand, hope you ain't standing still. Tonight we make the moves. This part. So I put together an action called How Many Weren't Filmed? And it's this idea of, would you have shown up to all the actions if it wasn't filmed? Like Terrence Franklin, Paul Castaway, Tekle Sundberg to an extent, Isaac Aiden. Like, would you have really shown up to these actions? These are people that weren't really, I mean, Tekle Sundberg was filmed. It was on the body cam. They had that. But the other names, like, would you have shown up if George Floyd wasn't filmed? Like, would you have known? Like, would you have been able to really motivate yourself to get out into the street? So what is that? What is it to being filmed that galvanizes people or motivates people? And tonight we're going to find out how many weren't filmed. So like making these night runs between Brooklyn Center and Minneapolis, I felt probably deepest in the spirit of a community organizer than I ever did. Like in that April, in May, from March, April, May, of 2021 after Dante was killed by BCPD. And it really, really, it took me to a place that I physically wasn't ready to be in, and I definitely burnt out on both ends with the amount of work and speaking and movement that I did. But that's everybody has a different threshold. You know, it is what it is. But the song speaks to that. Like, the song sounds like somebody has insomnia, like, and that's what I wanted it to be. And so we'll get into the music video another time. But the idea that the spirit of that song was just like, damn, I'm just done with this. But articulating it in such a way that is just like, you know, this, you know, like just getting after it, really letting these people know, like, this is exactly what is making me feel frustrated, what's making me feel uncomfortable, what's making me feel distrustful, all these things. And so I really believe that, you know, that song speaks to the lack of sleep and the losing of the voice that I was going through at the time, and really what that kind of work asks of you, or can ask of you. So yeah, so that's Night Game, and kind of like in a Kavinsky way, he had this song called Road Game. And so I wanted to kind of be in that spirit of, like, you know, like a double or a triple entendre in the title, called it Night Game. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that long explanation of Night Game. Thank you so much if you're a patron of the Patreon. If you're not, go to patreon.com/ToussaintMorrison, and we will see you in the next About That Track video.